One.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fight Fans Radio. You're listening to Across the Pond MMA. I hope you're all fantastic, feeling great, not too hungover. My name is Andre Jacobs. I'm one of the hosts here, but the man who makes me better as a host, I'm with Matt Simpson. Matt, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. We're doing the show a little earlier than normal, so I had to drink a little extra coffee to get going, but I can't complain.
Fantastic. How's your week been, sir? I know you've been addicted to something that I've been trying to get you addicted to for a long time. Crystal meth.
Yes, crystal meth. I finally decided to try it, and it was so sweet. No, yeah, Breaking Bad, man. I finally I made myself get through the first season, which I really did have to make myself get through the first season.
You made yourself.
Yeah, it was. There's some tough spots in that for being a dad and also being my weird psychosis issues with people that have cancer and movies, but and TV. But no, we'll definitely talk about it a little bit more in detail later. But yeah, I definitely I'm hooked. I just started watching it. What was it, Thursday? Maybe.
Yeah, I think you messaged me on Thursday, like starting Breaking Bad.
Yeah, and so I'm midway. I'm almost halfway through the third season. So
you'll have finished it in no time and have nothing else to watch, and you'll be craving for it like I have been for the last few months.
Yeah, they're on their sixth seasons. What they're getting ready to start, right?
They're about to start their sixth season. Yeah.
So the fifth season's not available for me to watch yet. So I'll at least have a good solid handful of episodes to watch once the fifth season comes out, and then I won't have that much longer to wait on the sixth.
Yeah, pretty well. It's basically not the sixth season. It's basically the fifth season, but broken down into parts.
Okay, so they did a mid-season break.
Yeah, for a year.
For a year. Nice.
For a year. So yeah. Cool. Yeah, let's talk some MMA. What were your thoughts on Bellator? We finally have a new middleweight champion, Alexander Shlemenko, giving Mikhail Falcao a beating that not the greatest beating, but it was good. I was impressed. I can't complain. What about you? What were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was impressed with how he handled Falcao. I thought the fight would be a little bit closer, and I honestly thought it would probably go to a decision. But Shlemenko, man, landed a nasty body shot and to the liver. And so when you see those shots hit, I mean, sometimes they take a few seconds to take effect on the opponent, and that's what seemed to happen. Falcao just faded over the 20-second shot. Excuse me. Got a bit of a head cold, so people have to bear with me. But Falcao, he's a solid fighter. So I still don't think Alexander Shlemenko is the touted. He's touted as the greatest Russian fighter in MMA by Bellator. I don't think he's quite that, but he's a solid middleweight for Bellator.
Yeah, no, I don't really expect to see him in the UFC anytime, nor do I think he'd win the UFC. But he's entertaining. I'm never going to complain when I can see an Alexander Shlemenko fight. He gets the violence going, and that's what we're really here for. Pure, unadulterated violence.
Absolutely. And we had the featherweight quarterfinals. For most of the fights, they were entertaining. I was really happy to see them move De Silva and Bezerra up to the main card.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, that fight only lasted 1 minute and 40 seconds, with Bezerra getting a submission. I wish we could have got to watch those guys go at it for a little bit longer, but regardless, it was still fast and entertaining. Mike Richmond, Mitch Jackson, another entertaining fight, just inside of a first round TKO for Mike Richmond. But the fight that I was really disappointed with, because I felt like he lost the fight and got a gift, was Marlon Sandro versus Stepanian. I really thought Stepanian, at worst, should have been a draw. I thought the first judge that scored at 28-28 had it correct because of the point deduction. But I think that if the guy that scored it, with the 29-27 scores for Marlon Sandro, I just didn't see.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I didn't actually get a chance to watch Bellator this week. I know I'm a terrible journalist. Fire me and send me to hell. I just didn't get a chance. I've been busy, so I was looking forward to this day where you would break it down for me and let me know what happened.
Yeah, and Sandro, he just looks. Sandro's just old. I mean, the guy has got a lot of miles on him, man. He's not old as as far as his age goes, but as far as the MMA career goes, I think this is his last dance. I mean, he'll probably continue to fight, and he can continue to be compete against, the mid-tier to, lower tier competition. But his days of being a dominant featherweight, I think, are in the past. And I don't even see, I don't think that he can beat Alexander or Bazeha if those two meet up, which I think they will.
Nice. Fair enough. What were your thoughts on the Ultimate Fighter? I'm kind of enjoying it, which is weird for me to say.
Yeah, no, I'm still with you on that. I'm still enjoying it. It had a little bit of drama going on, but it wasn't too. I don't know. It didn't feel fake to me. I guess it didn't feel like it was pushed on by the producers. It felt like maybe the fighters were trying to just get in each other's heads a little bit.
Yeah.
So far so good. I'm still waiting for the other shoe to drop. That something just goes completely awry and they destroy a bunch of doors. But I've enjoyed it so far, man. Uriah Hall, wow. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I saw you tweeting out some Jamaican props, and I think that man, that guy is a freaking monster. The only thing that worries me a little bit is that there's some other heavy-handed guys in this competition, and Uriah, because he's been the big dog in his training facility for quite a while, he fights with his hands down a little bit. He's a little bit overconfident at times, and I think there's guys that are in this competition that could clip him, and that I think that could be his downfall. But dude is nasty.
Okay. You know what? It's very weird because the way I was sort of explaining it is I woke up and I didn't know who'd won the fight. But once I got into work and found out, and I checked on Twitter, I realised that there were a bunch of Jamaicans that don't actually watch MMA but just heard about it, and they were like, "Yo, we need to see this." And it's quite funny because for such an aggressive country, we are literally probably one of the smallest yet most aggressive group of people you'll ever find. There aren't many of us who are into MMA. I mean, there's Shay Mills, Claude Patrick, and Uriah Hall. Off the top of my head, and Dennis Sutherland in the UK. So there's really 4 real Jamaicans in MMA, and I'm hoping there's more because then I can actually be patriotic and be like, yeah, the Jamaicans are win. But it's interesting to see. There's obviously 4 left to go. Luke Barnett is still a savage. I'm looking forward to seeing Bubba McDaniel. I think Kevin Casey's going to lose in the next episode, and I think John Jones' team are going to get the old chance to pick the fights and whatnot. So far it's good, and you know what? I really like Chael. I kind of want him to be my dad.
I agree, man. I've been back and forth with Chael throughout his career, especially once he started the talking trash. I enjoyed it at first, and then it kind of got under my nerves because he just kept doing it, and at times wasn't that good at it, even though everybody seems to think he's fantastic at it. But I've been back and forth with him. But man, this series has got me a fan again, even though he's going to get demolished by John Jones. I'm having to say, I'm a fan. I'm really going to look forward to. I would even look forward to him doing some more with Tough. I think that he's a good coach. I think that's something that show needed was 2 good coaches and guys that really cared about their teams, because it seems like they always seem to get like one really good coach and either one guy that's mid tier or horrible. So I think both guys are doing a great job, John Jones and Chael.
Yeah, they're both coming off as stars, and I think Chael, everyone sort of knew that the whole thing was a shtick, it was a gimmick. But, the way he comes across is that this guy is really a good coach. He's really, really, really good at coaching. So, I'm gonna stick with it this season. This may be the first season in a very long time that I've actually been like, yeah, I'm actually gonna watch this show. I actually give a damn. So, I'm looking forward to it. It's much better from what I saw compared to last season. So, yeah.
No, totally agree.
There were no fights this weekend, so that was my little MMA fix.
Yes, no UFC, a little bit of Bellator, but that's it. And then there was a couple other small promotions that had some horrible fights that weren't worth watching. But
did you watch Primetime?
Yes, the Ronda Rousey.
Please tell me what you thought of it, because I haven't seen it yet.
I mean, it's always well produced. They're really trying to get you to think that Carmouche has any chance against Rousey, which, I mean, I guess she does if she can come out and start pelting Rousey, but Rousey's stand-up looked better in her last fight, and she's really working hard against it, and she's a top-level athlete. So I think that I'm not really worried about her getting punched and getting and being backed up. I mean, I think Rousey will come out and do what she normally does. But the primetime show, I mean, for people that don't know Ronda Rousey or Liz Carmouche, they did a great job. I mean, they talk about each fighter and give them a little bit of history and stuff. And it was really kind of tough listening to Ronda talk about her dad. But it was well put together. I mean, I've yet to see a primetime though that has not been well put together. I mean, they do a really, really good job with that series.
I just don't need to see another GSP primetime ever. Ever. I never need to see another one ever in my entire life. It just doesn't need to be done. Let's get into predictions for UFC on Fuel TV next weekend. Which
where's that going to be held at?
That's going to be held 15 minutes away from my actual house.
Nice.
In London. So I will be carving up like a beast on the Friday night. I'll be carving up hard, and it's time to discuss the old fights that I'll be seeing. I've got friends on this card. That's really weird for me. Do you know what I mean?
Who do you have on the card that's friends? So I know when you're being biased.
I'm not being biased. Actually, no. Now I'm looking at the fights. I'm probably going to pick the people who are pals with. So that sucks. Shay Mills and Jimmy. I used to work for Jimmy, and Shay is a fellow Jamaican. So.
Okay, right on.
Yeah. So we can start. Do you want to start from the prelims because you got some good fights on the prelims?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, cool. Phil Harris versus Ulysses Gomez. Who you got?
Well, in this fight, I'm going to go with Gomez. I think that Phil Harris is good on the ground, but I think Gomez is just a little bit better. I think that Gomez is first. He's only had one fight in the UFC, I believe, and it ended violently. He's a better fighter, way better fighter than what he showed in his first fight. He's fought the better competition, so I'm going to go with Gomez via UD in this fight.
I agree. I've definitely got Gomez in this fight. I think he's a superior grappler, probably a better striker. Phil Harris has fought a lot of bigger men, but I think Gomez will have the strength advantage as well. And it will go down. It will be 1-0 to the Mexicans against the English. Next up, Vaughn Lee versus Tezuka.
Man, I really missed that.
Yeah.
Vaughn Lee versus Tezuka. Luckily, I don't have to say his first name. In this fight, going with Vaughn Lee here. Tezuka, I thought looked solid on a short notice fight. What was it? It's been several months ago against Alex Caceres.
Yep, that was Macau,
yeah, and then but Vaughn Lee, man, I like this cat. I think he's a wizard on the ground. Tezuka's solid on the ground, and it's where he likes to win his fights is on the ground, and I think that's going to be bad news for him getting Vaughn Lee down there. He is a little bit bigger than Vaughn Lee, I believe, so maybe strength could play into this a little bit, but I'm going to go with Vaughn Lee getting a submission win here.
I'm probably going to have to go with Vaughn as well, if only because I think he struggles against really strong wrestlers, like physically strong wrestlers. I don't think Tezuka really has that. So I think Vaughn will brawl with him at the start because he likes to brawl, and he's a stand-up fighter even though he's got a lot of submission wins. But I think, I'll agree with you. I think he's going to sub him in the end.
Yeah, next. I have to agree with you there, man. I think it'll be an exciting fight, so we'll see.
Yeah, no, it'll be an exciting fight. Another exciting fight that I reckon will get the crowd and the critics and the people watching on TV happy will be Tom Watson versus Stanislav Nedkov. Who you got for that one?
Absolutely, man. This should be a slugfest. The only way it would go any different is if Nedkov uses his wrestling to try to grind out a UD against Watson, but I don't see that happen. Watson gets hit too easily, and so does Nedkov. So I think that they'll both slug it out. I think that this is going to end in a first round KO. I'm leaning towards Nedkov just because I think he's just going to be the stronger fighter, moving down from light heavyweight to middleweight. I mean, Nedkov has fought bigger guys, and I think that's going to give him a little bit of an advantage going into this fight. And he can always fall back on his wrestling. Tom Watson, though, man, is a guy that can take a heavy punch. I mean, you saw it against Brad Tavares. They were back and forth in that fight. I think it was a split decision loss, if I remember right. And Nedkov is sloppy, so Watson could catch him. I mean, I went really back and forth on this, but I ended up going with Nedkov. I think the move to middleweight was a smart move for this guy. I don't think he's a world beater by any stretch of the means, but I think he's just got enough power that if he clips Watson, he can put him away.
This is a hard fight for me to pick. I can understand why you're going back and forth. Watson's got some decent power on him. He's got a solid chin. He's a very, very focused fighter. Nedkov also has a very solid chin. Definitely has power. As you said, he's got some decent wrestling. But I'm assuming Watson's going to have Greg Jackson with him. I'm also assuming that he's probably spent maybe some time at the Black Zillions gym training with Rashad.
Which is bad if you train with the Black Zillions.
He probably spent some time training at the Black Zillions gym, but he's obviously gone to Greg Jackson's as well.
I was just making fun of him.
Oh, I don't blame you. So I'm gonna lean toward Watson, but my head is saying go with Nedkov, but I'm gonna lean towards Watson just because I don't think he'll want to lose in his hometown. I think it'll be too much for him. There's a bit of pride. There's too much pride in that man for him to want to lose, for him to lose in his hometown, in my opinion.
No, and he absolutely could win this fight. So I mean, it's a pick 'em. It's not a pick 'em fight. I mean, it's one way or the other. The thing that makes me lean towards Nedkov is just his wrestling, because I think that might be the difference in the fight. But regardless, this is going to be a really, really exciting fight. So I can't wait to watch that.
Cool. Andy Ogle versus Josh Grisby. Andy Ogle, a favourite of the Tough Live season that a few of us watched, and Josh Grisby, the man who just was, but never quite did. Would that be the best way to describe him?
Yeah, I think we've had some discussions about Josh Grisby and his out of the cage issues that have seeped into the cage. And I think he's getting a gift here with Ogle, because he can absolutely beat Andy Ogle. I think that Ogle's a durable fighter, but Josh Grisby, if we see the Josh Grisby that was tearing it up before, I think his first loss, which was Dustin Poirier in the UFC, was that right?
Pardon, say again?
Was it Poirier that he lost to? His first, he's on a 3-5.
Yeah, no, it was Poirier he lost to. Yeah, it was
so after that loss, he kind of just fell apart. I think the UFC is trying to give him the opportunity to get back up on the horse here with Andy Ogle, and I'm going to pick him. I'm going to pick him to get the win here. I believe I picked him against Roop and Hani Yahya too, and both times he disappointed. But I think that this fight is. I think this is the best chance he's got. If he loses here, he's definitely gone from the UFC. So this is his last chance to do anything. So I'm going to go with Grisby. I think he'll get a decision win.
Yeah, no, it's a hard one. I mean, Ogle's moved down to Team Calbon with, Paul Sass, Terry Etten, Paul Kelly, Paul Taylor, all those crazy savages up in the north. So I'm assuming he's gone to that next level, and he's a very aggressive, enthusiastic fighter, which could cause problems for Josh Grisby. I think Ogle is mentally there. Do you know what I mean? Whereas whenever I've seen Josh Grisby, ever since sadly the loss of his father, I don't think he's mentally been there. Maybe whether it's been injuries or it's this or that, but Josh Grisby that looked good in the WEC hasn't been the same for a very long time. So I won't be able to tell you. All I can tell you from the last Josh Grisby I saw, didn't look mentally there. Whether or not he's got that back, only he knows. But if he hasn't got it back, then I'm going to have to go Andy Ogle to push the pressure and probably get a unanimous decision win, 29-28. Oh, I just got accurate with you.
That could actually happen too. I mean, with Grispy, it's a toss-up whether we know if he's going to be there mentally or not. If he is there mentally, though, I'm gonna lean with the idea that he's finally got it. He's going to finally get it back together, and at least make a run at featherweight. So I'm going to go with Grispy. You're going with Ogle. Another fight though that should be a fairly exciting fight.
Indeed. Paul Sass versus Danny Castillo. Both fights coming off losses. Paul Sass to Matt Wyman and Danny Castillo to Michael Johnson. Who have you got for this fight, Matt?
I actually went back and forth a little bit on this fight. Castillo has problems with wrestlers, not necessarily grapplers. If you understand what I'm saying there. I mean, he's had issues with Volkman, I believe, and Michael Johnson knocked him out, but it wasn't because of his wrestling. It was a Hail Mary punch. So, I'm going with Paul Sass in this fight. I think that Sass, with his loss to Matt Wyman, he had to go back to the drawing board a little bit. I mean, he dominated for so long. He hadn't lost since 2007. I think that he's just so ridiculously good on the ground. I think he'll be able to eventually get the fight there, and I think he'll eventually get the win there. So I'm going to go with a submission win for Paul Sass.
Okay, cool. Yeah, do you know what? This is going to sound like I'm really all for the English, but honest God, I just think Dan Castillo makes a lot of mistakes. Too many mistakes, and Sass is a man that if you make one mistake with him, he will lock you up and finish you really quick. So I'm going to have to go with Sass. Dan Castillo manages to keep this fight standing and just jab him up. You never know what could happen, but I'm gonna have to go with Sass because he's just. If Michael Johnson catches Danny Castillo with a Hail Mary punch, then Paul Sass within 15 minutes can probably catch Danny Castillo with a Hail Mary submission. you see my
that's pretty good math right there. That's good MMA math.
Thank you very much. Terry Etten versus Rene Forte. Who you got for this one?
Adam all the way here. I think Adam's going to come out and completely dominate this fight. He's the bigger fighter. Forte's a fairly well-rounded fighter, but Adam coming off of the highlight reel KO from Barboza, he's got something to prove. He's definitely not wanting to be someone else's highlight reel. I think Adam will dominate this fight. Yeah,
Terry Etten's too good for this guy. You know what I mean? Terry Etten still has all the potential in the world. He's still young. Whether or not, the question is whether he can stay away from injury, you know?
Right.
That being said, I fully expect him to go out there and beat Forte, and probably finish him, if I'm honest. Maybe by submission. Not spinning back kick, though. Shay Mills versus Matt Riddle. Who you got for this one?
Well, this is a tough fight to pick in the fact that Matt Riddle is a riddle in itself. That you never know what this guy's going to do. I think that he could wrestle Mills and get the UD, but Mills' stand-up is pretty ridiculous when he's not fighting Rory McDonald.
Yeah.
This is another fight I did go back and forth a little bit because I really like Matt Riddle. I think he's a durable fighter. I think that he can think about standing long enough that he can handle some of Mills' strikes and then realize it was a bad idea and get the fight to the ground. Matt Riddle, his fighter IQ is so horrible, and sticking with the game plan, we've talked about it before, is not in Matt Riddle's forte. I'm going to go with Matt Riddle, though. I think I'm going to go with it. He's going to use his wrestling. He's going to out-wrestle Mills and get a very boring decision and have the UK fans booing.
This is a man who hates British people because of our teeth. So it'll be interesting because I'm probably going to have to interview him sometime. So I'm just going to try and do it with my mouth closed mostly. But no, honestly, I think Matt Riddle's the type of guy who, how do I put this? He fights off emotion. So, being in the country that he's lambasted publicly, the crowd booing, I'm gonna assume that he's gonna want the crowd to turn on his side. He's gonna stand and trade with Shea Mills, which can only be bad for him because he will get hopped up and down, in my opinion. But as you said, if it goes to wrestling, then I'm gonna assume that Matt's got it. But I don't think he will. I think he'll wanna stand in there and trade with a Brit and then call out Dan Hardy again. So I'm gonna go with Mills. But I think if it starts to go wrestling, then I'm gonna go with Matt Whittle wins. So there you go.
I think that's pretty accurate. If it stays standing, Shea Mills should absolutely dominate the fight because real stand-up is garbage. And so we'll see what happens come fight night.
Cool. James Tahuna versus Ryan Jimmo.
Oh, God. I hate Ryan Jimmo so much. Not as a person, but as an MMA fighter. Dude is garbage. How he got into the UFC was by fighting garbage, and he gets in the UFC, he gets a 7-second knockout, which, whatever. James Tahuna's winning this fight. James Tahuna's going to knock Ryan Jimmo out in the first round, in dominating fashion, and then we'll get to see Ryan Jimmo fight maybe 1 or 2 more times, and then I won't have to see him fight anymore because he'll be fighting, for one of the Canadian promotions that I don't watch anymore.
There's only so much you can do for, when it comes to jabbing, run away, jab, run away, jab, run away, jab, run away. I don't think you can do that with James Tahuna because not only can he take a punch, but he delivers a hell of one back. So I think this is going to be the first time in a long time that Ryan Jimmo is going to, he's going to have someone who's really going to test his chin. And you know what? James Tahuna has a fantastic record in the UFC. Do you know how many wins he's got?
No, how many?
Right, if I'm right, I'm pretty sure James Tahuna he's 4-1 with his only loss being Alexander Gustafsson.
That's pretty good. I mean, because he's holding a winning record in the UFC is not easy. And
the only person he hasn't finished, Joey Beltran.
Which that guy's tough to finish, so it's not surprising. And Ryan Jimmo, yeah, his jab run style. I mean, I watched his last fight at MFC against Sokuju, and I really just wanted to take my TV and throw it out in my yard. So I just Tahuna is going to come in and light Jimmo up at some point in the first round, and it's going to end. It's going to end badly for Ryan Jimmo. And
if Ryan Jimmo wins, right, we get to see the old body pop in. And lock in again.
God. Oh my God! No, this guy better have taken the knockout of the night bonus and invested it well because I think his UFC career is going to be short.
Well, we'll see. Gunnar Nelson versus Jorge Santiago. Gunnar Nelson all day. I mean, George Santiago belongs at welterweight. He should never been at middleweight in the first place, fighting people like Brian Stann and getting blitzkrieg. But Gunnar Nelson is one of those stone cold Icelandic killers. So I'm going to go with Gunnar Nelson. I don't know who you want to go with, but.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that one as well. Gunnar Nelson by destruction. I mean, Santiago, he just completely folds up when he comes to the UFC. Anyways, outside of maybe he needed some money, that's the only reason I can see why you take a fight against Gunnar Nelson because it's not going to end well for Santiago. Gunnar Nelson could easily end this fight in the first round. Maybe it makes it to the second round. I'm going to go with the first round TKO.
Cool. Jimmy Manuel versus Cyril Diabate. Who you got?
Diabate is a guy that I've just never been able to get behind. I mean, I was really surprised when he submitted Chad Griggs. I had Griggs to win that fight. His stand-up's solid. He's improving his ground game. I think Manoa is going to get the win here, though. I think that he's going to be able to get inside and put Diabate away. I'm going to go with a first-round TKO.
Jimmy's too powerful. Just too powerful. Just see him just knocking him out, which is kind of sad because I enjoy Cyril Diabate fights, but I think Jimmy's just continuing to push on as a fighter. I think the only thing limiting him probably is his lack of ground skills and his age, really. But how can I really say that when he hasn't lost a fight? So
no, and he's not that old. I mean, he's just in his early 30s, so
that's old.
He's not that old. Give him a break.
Cool. Cub Swanson versus Dustin Poirier.
Fight of the night right here, isn't it?
Probably. I mean, I'm more excited for this fight than Cub Swanson versus Dennis Siver.
Yeah, I definitely agree, man. This fight should be really exciting, especially with Poirier taking it on short notice. Cub Swanson, man, another guy that he's really easy to get behind, and he's always puts on exciting fights. Very dynamic. Throws just some crazy strikes coming from all different directions. Dustin Poirier is a little bit more technical, great on the ground, but so Swanson. Swanson's no slouch when it comes to the ground game. But Poirier, I think, is going to get in trouble here. I'm going to go with Cub Swanson. I think Cub Swanson's going to catch him. He's going to catch him early, and it's going to be. I'm going to say maybe a little bit back and forth. I think that we could see late second round, third round, but I think we're going to see a finish from Cub Swanson at some point via TKO.
I'm going to go with Dustin Poirier because he's simply a better fighter in all aspects. He's more of a technical striker. He's probably not as powerful as Cub Swanson, but I think he's got a better cardio, he's more of a pressure fighter, which will make Cub Swanson make mistakes, and from there he'll get choked. So I reckon it'll be like a second round submission for Dustin Poirier. And to the main event, Renan Barão versus Michael McDonald. Who have you got?
Oh, this has been horrible. This has probably been one of the worst fights for me to pick in a while. I've been back and forth. Another fight. This card is just constant. I mean, there's going to be a lot of close fights, I think, on this card. I mean, I think we could see a lot of knockouts, but I think there'll be, somebody makes a mistake and then it's over with. But Renan Barão, Michael McDonald. I've been on Barão's hype train, whatever you want to call it, since the WEC days. I have not picked this guy to lose yet. Michael McDonald, not so much. I like this kid. I think he's definitely the future of the bantamweight division. I think that he's going to be a perennial contender. He maybe see him move up a weight class eventually. But same thing for Barão. I mean, this is a guy that's definitely could move up if you see Jose Aldo move up. I don't know. McDonald, boxer, really powerful, great counterpuncher. Barão's Muay Thai is just ridiculous, dynamic, ridiculously fast transitions on the ground. If he hurts McDonald and it goes to the ground, Barão will be on top of him and choking him out before McDonald can do anything. I really hate picking this fight. I'm gonna let you tell me who you think you're gonna win because I'm still going back and forth on this fight.
I've got Michael McDonald winning this fight. Ever since I've seen the kid, I think the first time I saw him, it might have been when he lost to Cole Escobedo, but I'm pretty sure I might have seen him before that. Regardless, whenever I've seen him, I've been impressed, and the fact that he took out Miguel Torres, the way he took out Miguel Torres was just fantastic to me. He's got a fantastic head and shoulders, and he's just very smart, and I just see him going out there and finishing. I take it back. I won't say he'll finish Renan Barão. I think he'll take him the distance. This could very well be fight of the night because Michael McDonald is weak in no area. He's got good submissions. He's a very technical striker as well. Renan Barão is very good, definitely. Also, he's got some very good takedown defense, but I think Michael McDonald can match him in anywhere, any place he wants to match him. So I'm going to go with old Michael McDonald, not the singer, the actual fighter.
Well, you still haven't sold me, man. I'm still leaning towards Barão. That's who I picked initially when this fight was announced. I tell you what, I think I am. I'm going to go Michael McDonald, and I'm going to go TKO. I think he's going to catch Barão late. I think it'll be a late round, late in the fight, third, fourth round knockout via Michael McDonald. I think that I agree, man. This kid is just fantastic. I mean, when we did our year-end predictions, I thought this kid has the potential to be, a pound for pound, one of the pound for pound top guys by the end of the year, and that would be he'd have to beat Barão, then he has to beat Dominic Cruz, and then beat another top bantamweight, and I think he'd be right there. And I think he could easily do all of those things. It's just Renan Barão is just right there with Michael McDonald as far as skill. But I'm going to go McDonald. I'm going to go McDonald TKO.
Look, let's not forget that the fact that this kid is 22.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, 22 years old. It's ridiculous.
He's going to be a champ someday. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no way. I genuinely cannot see any way that this guy isn't.
Well, you could look at him. He's the John Jones of the lighter weight divisions. I mean, he's that type of fighter, that next level fighter that we're going to see more and more of over the next few years.
John Jones, Rory McDonald, Chris Weidman in some ways, those are the next generation, as you said. So he's going to be a champ someday. It's just a matter of when. And Matt's gone so quiet, so I'm assuming that's the end of our MMA discussion today. 40 minutes of MMA to excite you all, and now we'll go into the entertainment section. Because let's be honest, nothing really happened last week that we really want to talk about. Do you really want to hear us harp on about TRT again? No.
No, I don't think anybody wants to hear me talk about TRT for a while.
Exactly, cool. Until someone overdoses on TRT, then I suppose we'll talk about it. But I think we've all said as much as we can actually say about the subject. But I want to know what your thoughts are on Breaking Bad, man. Tell me a little bit more. I want to hear this.
I mean, it is like I said, it's a very tough show to watch. Is it the second and third season? It has been easier to watch than the first season, and it's just because Walter White, Bryan Cranston, he's gotten to the point where he's a little bit too crazy to really get behind. And feel sorry for him with all the things. But I mean, watching this show in succession, it's just like, it's amazing, how much bad luck this guy has. And how, I mean, it's just one thing after another, that just continues to go wrong for him. He cannot, catch a break in any any way, whatsoever. But Skylar, man, his wife, at first, I felt bad for her, but now she's screwing around on him. I just, I don't like her. I don't like her. I mean, I understand that, you should not be okay with your husband, being a drug dealer, but I mean, I think he went in with as good intentions as you could go into something like that. And I mean, you married the guy. He's still the guy you married. He just had, he made some poor decisions, and you're okay with a dude that's committing white collar crimes. So I think she's kind of a bitch. So I'm not a big fan of her. Aaron Paul, that plays Jesse Pinkman, dude, is another guy that I'm up and down with. The only person I've liked consistently through all of so far what I've watched, is Dean Norris as Hank Schrader. I'm always behind Hank. Hank always is trying to do the right thing outside of his bar fight that he had here in this last episode. But I really like his character. But everybody's really good. I mean, the acting's fantastic. The writing's great. I mean, I can see why everybody loves this show. And I'm ashamed by the fact that I've just now started watching it.
I'm glad that you've joined the crew. That's all I have to say. I'm very glad you have. Tell me about the films you saw. You said you saw Warm Bodies and Zero Dark 30. What were your thoughts on Warm Bodies, which I'm quite excited to see?
I enjoyed it. It was funny. It was kind of like Twilight meets.
Oh!
Yeah. It's had a little bit of Twilight to it. It was kind of making fun of Twilight. So
okay,
it's not like Twilight in that aspect that it's, teenage romance vampire crap. But it was funny. It was, I don't know. The runtime was like an hour and a half, which I think was just about right. A lot of people are really going crazy about this being a complete change on, the zombie genre. There are other films out there, people, that are like Warm Bodies, and they're just indie films that aren't, that didn't get national releases. So Warm Bodies is not completely breaking new ground here. I mean, there is some things in it that they do that they haven't done before in zombie films. What I do like in it, though, is they get back to eating brains. The zombie film genre has gotten so far away from eating brains that I'm glad to see somebody finally says, you know what, we need to bring back eating brains. And these zombies eat brains again. So, the fans of, I think like Return of the Living Dead, where, brains and all that crap get yelled out all the time, should be fans of this. If you like zombie films, it's a good film to go check out. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead and you need something to hold you over until next weekend, I'd say go see it. If you're not into zombie films, I don't know. My wife did not like this movie. So,
Really?
yeah, she laughed at times and you got her to jump a few times, but not a huge fan of it. So I'd say it leans towards people that are zombie fans. So, but it's definitely worth checking out. I enjoyed it.
So wait, hold on a second. Do you know what? I can't remember what I was actually going to say now. My head just completely blew.
Was it in regards to my wife not liking it?
No, I can't remember what it was. My head just completely... I had something in my head, but I just completely lost it, sorry. It can't have been that important. Thoughts on Zero Dark 30?
Zero Dark 30, man. I after watching it, I'm really surprised. I can't say I'm surprised because the Oscars are mainly a joke, but I really don't understand why this movie's nominated. It's a very good movie. Other than the subject matter, that's the only reason I can see that this movie has been nominated for Oscars is because of the subject matter. I thought it was a solid movie. It was a solid spy film. It was a little bit long, and I understand that. I guess when you're doing something like this, you're trying to walk the line of putting enough fiction into it to make it exciting, but also being you're wanting to be as honest with the subject matter as you can. So I don't know. I mean, and I don't know enough about all the specifics to say, how accurate it is on everything. I mean, I know the big news stories that they hit, they all happened. They didn't add anything new as far as that goes. But Jessica Chastain, she was excellent in the film. She was really, really good. Everybody else in it was just okay. I said, I mean, I just wasn't blown away by this. I really thought, I was surprised that it was nominated initially. And I think maybe part of it is that, Catherine Bigelow is still riding some of that, the Hurt Locker, that I thought should be nominated. I mean, that Hurt Locker was a fantastic film. This movie is just a solid movie. I mean, it's a good movie. I would definitely recommend go seeing it. If you like spy films, check it out. If you're a fan of Homeland, check it out because the character that's in this movie, the real life CIA analyst that helped bring down Bin Laden, Claire Danes' character in Homeland is based around the same person. So I would say if you're a fan of Homeland, this is a totally different type of spy film or a story than Homeland, but I'd still say you would probably enjoy this. Like I said, I just thought it was a solid movie. I do not though think that it was Oscar worthy.
Okay, cool. I watched a film called Detention yesterday. Completely on a whim. Didn't know much about it. Actually didn't really know anything about it. I think I saw a trailer a few months ago. And I've got to say it's probably my favourite film of all time.
Of all time now?
Of all time.
I don't believe that.
It is probably my favourite film.
You're gonna make me literally have to. Is this something I can watch on Netflix or did you?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So I'm gonna have to watch it before next weekend's show so I can give some thoughts on it.
Here's the thing, right? I have a very strong feeling that you're absolutely. How old were you in the 90s? Were you in your teens?
Yes.
I think you might enjoy it because there are a lot of references to the 90s. I'm just gonna say it. I've been tweeting a friend of mine because the guy who actually directed it, who's a famous music video director, his name's Joseph Kahn. He also directed Talk. Have you ever seen that film?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's a terrible film. It is so bad, it's hilarious. But the thing that automatically, how do I put this, got me about Detention was the fact that in the film they literally 30 seconds to 2 minutes into the film they've already made a joke about Talk, so it's literally just tongue-in-cheek humor, my favourite sort of humor, very banter-filled, very quick, witty dialogue. Dane Cook, who I don't like Dane Cook for some reason.
I don't think a lot of people like Dane Cook.
Is hilarious in this film. Dane Cook is the principal of the film, principal of the school that these kids have detention in, and he's so slimy and creepy. It's great. He's such a depressed, It's like Dane Cook if Dane Cook never found fame but knew that he was talented enough to be famous. That's what Dane Cook. That's who Dane Cook is in this film. And like my friend also said, yeah, I said to him like people either love this film or they hate it, and his personal opinion is that the general consensus is that people absolutely adore it or venomously hate this film.
Okay, well, like I said, I'm going to check it out, and we'll revisit it next weekend.
I have a feeling you'll hate it, but I think I think you'll appreciate the way that it's been shot.
Okay.
The way that it's been shot is very, it's like, there are a lot of bright colours, it's a lot of, like, up-close camera shots, and the dialogue is so witty and fast, and there's this perfect moment where one of the characters is having a debate about vegetarianism, and a Canadian guy comes up and does a debate about it himself, and it's just hilarious, because this girl gets absolutely shut down. It's so funny.
Well, I mean, if I was looking on IMDb, and the people who like this also liked section are a lot of movies that I like, which is The Revenant, Doghouse, One of the Dead, Dead Snow. So it's in good company. So I might enjoy it. So I'm going to check it out.
You got to tell me before the show, before we even do the show, so we can have a proper debate about it. No one I know has seen it. No one I know has seen it. So
Okay, for sure.
It's interesting to me. The Walking Dead starts tonight. Bam, bam, bam.
It starts next weekend. Is it tonight?
No, it's tonight.
Man, I am way off on my Walking Dead. I was thinking it was next weekend, so better make sure the DVR is set.
No, The Walking Dead starts on February 10th.
Yeah, I'm ashamed of myself being the Walking Dead aficionado that I was off a week. But yeah, for sure, then it's going to be a good evening. That makes me excited. There's usually nothing to watch on Sunday nights. Indeed.
I think that's pretty much it. I haven't seen any films. I mean, I think I'm planning on doing some more documentaries this week. So,
have you watched Finding Sugar Man? Is that what the name of it is?
Searching for Sugar Man.
Searching for Sugar Man. Yeah.
I have not seen Searching for Sugar Man, although I intend to. Have you seen it?
I'll be interested. Yeah, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on that after you see it. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Really?
And I'm not a big documentary person, but.
Okay. Cool. Well, Matt, we've done an hour of the show. These people have got some time. They're going to enjoy the predictions that we've given them some hints on some films to watch if they haven't seen it. Who would you like to thank, man?
Well, as always, we got to give a shout out to FightFansRadio.com. They host our show, so go check them out. And everybody that listens to it, keep listening, downloading, all that stuff, streaming. And as always, man, thanks to Andre for doing a great job of helping me be a better me on the
show. Yeah, shout out to Matt, shout out to Erica, who couldn't be with us today because she's too busy laying in bed, and I don't blame her because I'm doing the exact same thing. Shout out to Fight Fans Radio. Shout out to everyone who listens. Thank you very much for your time. And fuck this. So
yes.
Cheers. Right, Matt. I suppose you should probably just play that funky music that just isn't really that funky. See you next weekend. Peace.